Alrighty, welcome everybody. It is 7 o'clock and it is time to do some stamping. My name is Julie Brown. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I want to welcome you to my Facebook Live. If you've never been here before, you can ask me questions by typing in the comments. And also you can let me know you're here, and that's always fun because it's always better for me to be talking to someone than nobody. So while I'm waiting for everybody to get on, I'm going to take care of a little bit of housekeeping. So let's get that up. So I've got my November hostess code up and running because today is November 1st. Woo woo! Okay, I can't believe how fast October went by. That was just insane. So you can order through me at juliebrown.stampinup.net. My email is juliescreativestampin@gmail.com. And then I have a Pinterest, Facebook, and Instagram, which is Julie's Creative Stamping. And then my YouTube channel is a little bit different because you have to type in juliebrown.Julie's Creative Stamping to get to that one. And then I do have a blog or a website, which is juliescreativestamping.com. It is still under construction. I know, guys, it's been this way for like over 12 weeks. But my blogs are up. All right, I just did a new blog hop today on this one that I'm going to be showing you tonight. So if you go to juliescreativestamping.com and you click on my on the menu, if you click on blog, it'll take you to the blog that I just posted today with a group of ladies that I'm training with. They're all over the world, and they're all going to have cards made with the same set that I'm showing you tonight. So make sure you go check that out. Alrighty. Okay, so let's get started and let me show you what we're going to be working with tonight. So this just went live today for you customers. This is called the Fitting Florets Collection. And again, it just became available today. And as you guys know, hey Janet, as everybody knows, you know, if it becomes something that's really popular, it's going to go fast. But the nice thing is Stampin' Up! Has it set up so you can buy it as a collection, which is everything. And that's the number that I'm showing you there. Hey, Cindy. Or you can purchase just the bundle, and I'm going to explain all those to you in just a second. Or you can purchase just the Frame and Festive stamp set, which is part of the collection. Hey, Mel. Or you can just do the, remember DSP means Designer Series Paper. Or you can just purchase the Designer Series Paper, or you can just purchase, whoops, sorry, I'm trying to get this one up, the Gold Adhesive Back Swirls. So I'm going to pull this one up so you can see, and I got to get rid of all these other ones. Okay, so what is in the collection? The collection includes the Framed Florets bundle, which I'm going to show you. Hey, Bonnie. I called you Bonnie tonight. Are you impressed? The Frame and Festive stamping set, the 12 by 12 designer's paper, and the gold adhesive swirl. So let's look at it really quick, and then let's get to the cards. Let me get that out of the way, maybe. Oh, my computer is not wanting to. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, so let's talk about this. So this is everything that is in the collection. So let's go step by step. So this is the bundle. It is the Framed Florets stamp set. Super cute. And then it has these dies that go with it. Now these dies also match the other stamp set, which is on its own, the Frame and Festive. And then we have the Designer Series paper, and I want to go through that so I can get it out of the way. And of course, it's double-sided. So there's one side, and then there's the other. And you get two of every one. And then we have this one and this one. And then isn't this one beautiful? Oh, I love this Night of Navy with the balmy blue. And then there's that side. All right, and then we have this cute little pattern. And this pattern, It's kind of like, I thought it was a herringbone pattern, but it's not. It's kind of a more modern. And then we have this one. Hey, Cindy. And this one. We're going to get to the cards in just a second, but I am using this entire collection tonight. And then there's this version. And then we've got some like gingham. All right, so that's all the designer series paper. Pretty cool paper, if I may say so myself. And then last but not least in this collection is these, I don't know if you guys can see, they've got this like, they've got a swirl on them. Aren't those really cool embellishments? They're so much fun. All right, are we ready to do some card making? So, as usual, my first card is going to be a simple stamping card. And I'm just going to show you how I stamped it. And then I've already pre-colored one so that you guys don't have to watch me color everything. But let me just show you how I designed this one. Now remember, the cool thing about simple stamping is, you guys all know, I like to kind of create kind of my own designer series paper look. But it is, you could just as easily stamp one flower, the leaf, and a sentiment, and that would still be simple stamping. I don't do that, but you could. Maybe one of these times I'll show you a card that way. So basically what I did is I just stamped these designs. Let me get this a little bit closer so you guys can see what I'm doing, maybe. If my, there we go. All right. And so I just did this image, and I did it in the center. I did it in the bottom right corner. And then I did it in the top left corner. Now I am going to show you like how I stamped this, but I have already pre-colored it. So you guys won't have to sit while I do that. Okay, so the next thing that I brought in was the leaves. So we have this really cool leaf stamp. And I brought this around this corner right here. And then I brought it in up here as well. And I brought it in on the sides, coming in that way. And then this one, I kind of turned it upside down and brought it in over here. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. I'll clean these all in just a second. Then I came in with the bigger of the flower stamps. And I stamped one there, stamped one there. You will get to see me color in one little flower a little bit later. So just in case you're missing me coloring stuff. Okay, so I brought in there was a bigger flower and a smaller flower. And then it had this really fun little, it's kind of like a twig with some buds on it. And so I just brought this in. Now, obviously, this is going to look different than the one that I've pre-colored because, you know what? I do this different every single time that I design this. And that's what's kind of cool about it, is because it's going to look different every single time. All right, so let me clean these off so you can see how I just took those images from this stamp set. And let me bring you the stamp set in so you can see. So basically I used this one, this one, this one, and these two to create this. Now, there was a couple other stamps in there that I could have used, but this is just what I chose to use. Okay, then what I did was I brought in blends and I colored it in with my blends. And do you want to see the magic happen? Are we ready for the magic? Ta-da! Yay! Okay, so once I stamped it, then I colored it in. Guys, isn't this cool how we can take a stamp set and we can create our own design on here? I hope you guys are starting to love and think about this whole simple stamping and getting your stamp sets out. and just starting to create your own designs. Even if it's one that you're not coloring in, but like you can ink it up and stamp it, you can do that just as easily and would probably be a lot quicker because you're not having to color it in. So isn't this beautiful? I just love this once it's all colored in. So this is what it looked like. Oh, I think I just threw it. Okay. So before, after, and again, you can see it's a little bit different, right? Because I don't stamp the same way every single time, and that's perfectly okay. Okay, so then what I did is I decided I wanted to do this on basic black. I did not say what blends, so let me tell you. So for the flower, I used Flirty Flamingo. For these flowers are Balmy Blue. The leaves are Granny Apple Green, and these little yellow ones are Daffodil Delight. And then I used the that deep, I think it's SU100 of the Naturals for the center of the flowers. So no, I didn't, but thank you, Janet. Now I did. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring this in. I'm going to bring my basic black card base in. And we're going to use our Stampin' Seal Plus. So how many of you guys have you guys have been watching me do this for a while. How many of you have been brave enough to sit down and design your own kind of like designer series paper with your stamps? If you guys haven't done it yet, I'm going to challenge all of you to do that. Okay, so then what I need to do is I'm going to bring in a basic black strip and a basic white strip, and I'm going to take this little sentiment, which is part of this stamp set, and I love this sentiment. It really spoke to me. I'm going to move this down here, and hopefully you guys can still see me do this. Hopefully I can get it straight. Guys, look what that says. Just a little reminder that you are loved. Who doesn't need this card, right? Everybody needs this card. Oh, I need that open. So then I'm going to come in and I am going to use that little flower, and then you guys will get to see me do a little bit of coloring. And this one's going to go on this side. And then that little kind of twig with the blooms is going to go on this side, like so. All right, so let me clean those up, and all I'm going to do is color these two, and then this card's going to be pretty much ready to put together. But isn't that a cool sentiment? I love it. Just a little reminder that you are loved. You know, I know some grandkids of mine that could use that once in a while. So pretty cool. So when I'm blending, the way that I do this is I use the darker and I put that on first. Everybody has their method. I know a lot of demonstrators, they'll come in and they'll color the light first, and then they'll highlight with the dark, and then they'll go over with the light again. You guys need to remember that the blending, it's all about getting it saturated so that the two color, the dark and the light, blend together so that it's not such a stark outline. Because if we were doing this with just markers, that darker color would really stick out. It wouldn't blend in, because the whole point of blending is you're just trying to give it some highlights. Now, when I do this other little one over here, there really isn't much blending. So anytime you have one that's has a little bit of space like this, I'm basically just bringing in the dark Daffodil Delight, and I'm just going to fill in those little buds. So I don't worry about blending together like the light and the dark if it's just little tiny spaces like this. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. All right. So let me put this onto my black strip. we're just going to lay that down like so. Okay, and then I'm just going to bring it in, and I'm just going to put it kind of along this bottom edge of the card. So I'm just putting some Stampin' Seal Plus on. So you guys are making comments and then nothing. It's like crickets chirping. And then I'm just going to put this along this bottom edge down here. And I went ahead, and this is one of the other sentiments. It says, wishes for a beautiful birthday. And then again, I stamped that stamp and then colored that in. And we're gonna just stick this in there. Now remember, I try to show you guys like how you can just do the stamp set and make a beautiful card, you know, without all the dies and all that stuff. Of course, you guys know me, I like all the dies. I like all the easy buttons. So what do you guys think? Do you like it? I hope you do. So there's card 1. Dun, da, da. All right. Okay, so card 2 is what we call stepping it up a bit. And when I say stepping it up a bit, what I mean is that now we're going to bring in some dies, and we're going to bring in some of the designer series paper, and probably use some dimensionals. And so it's just kind of a way to what we call stepping it up. Oh, good, Cindy. I'm glad you like it. Okay, so for this one, I'm using a thick basic white card base. And then I went ahead and cut, and I don't have the exact measurements. I will get those for you, but I just cut a piece of Evening Evergreen. And of course, you know, I have kind of done some coloring and stuff, especially on the last card, because we're going to be doing a lot of layering on the last card. Okay, so that's going to lay like so. And then what I'm going to do is I have 3 strips, and I chose this pattern and these 2 patterns. And so now what I'm going to do, now we have cards that will, we have punches that will punch the banners in the bottom. But I wanted to show you guys how to create the banners if you don't have those punches. The easiest way I have found is you kind of find your center and you cut straight up the center. And then you come in from each edge to the center, like so, to create your little banner. Now, you guys know I have the punches, so I use my punches because that's kind of, you guys know me, easy button, easy button. But I just wanted to show you guys that if you don't have that particular punch, and I don't even know if we still sell all of them because they've come out with several, that you can still do a banner. And look, it's nice and straight and it looks good. And so I laid this one not quite to the edge. I made it flush to this top edge, but I wanted to leave a little bit of the white showing along this line. Okay, the second one that I'm going to do is going to be this one, and I'm going to do that banner the same way. I'm just going to try to come to the middle, cut up, and then from this side cut up to where I cut just a second ago, and then do the same thing on this side. This is almost kind of a foolproof way of doing these banner cuts. So let's say that you're traveling and you want to be making some cards while you're traveling, but you don't want to carry all your heavy punches. Again, this is just a good way to do this. All right, so I'm going to need some dimensionals, and I'm actually going to use quite a few dimensionals. This is probably the most dimensionals you guys will ever see me use. Sometimes I use a lot, and sometimes I am very sparing with my dimensionals. All right, so I'm just going to kind of go down this side, but I also want to make sure that I get one down here on the actual banner section. Sorry, let me move some of this stuff. Isn't it crazy? Did you guys see I started with a clean desk, and it takes exactly, what are we, 21 minutes into this? And part of that I was talking at the beginning, so it's not quite 21 minutes. How crazy is that? And then I'm actually going to come up the center with these as well, because I just felt like this needed kind of a lot. It's a really big piece, and so I just wanted to make sure it had plenty of support for this. So, question for everybody. So I've been kind of shifting because my grandkids get dropped off at my house about 6:30 in the morning, because their mom works very early and their dad works very early, and we take them to school. And I used to be a big time night owl, and so I'm trying to like transition myself to be a morning glory, right? Early bird. So chime in for me, ladies. Are you a night owl or are you an early bird? Because I'm in a transition period right now. Okay, so now we're going to lay this, and when you're laying this down, you want to make sure that you cover this side of that banner. Okay, so now we've got that popped up like so. So do I have a bunch of night owls here, or do I have morning glories? All right. So again, I'm going to do one more banner. So we're going to cut that up the center, come from the side. Oh, okay. I've got one night owl. Yeah, I don't know what to do with myself right now because I'm kind of both, and it's kind of like wearing me out. I'm going to have to make a decision here pretty soon. So this one, it's going to be popped up on this left side, and then I'm going to be putting glue on this side. So Mel is an early bird. I kind of already knew that. Mel and I used to room together when we went on retreats together, and I was definitely the night owl then, and I would stay up really late and scrapbook, and she would go to bed fairly early, but then she was always up really early the next morning. So that one I kind of knew. But yeah, I'm kind of going through like a transition where, you know, I'm having to get up early. And then what's crazy is I've been a night owl most of my life. And what's happening is I go through this like around, you know, maybe 5 or 6. I start feeling like, oh, you know, the end of the day is coming. And then I get this mad rush of energy at the end. So Cindy, you go to bed with the chickens because you love mornings. Okay. Yeah, the problem is I'm having to get up early, and I used to be like the most creative in the evenings, and now I'm having to switch all of that and start my creativity in the morning. And so I don't know if my brain is quite ready to work with me yet on that. Okay. So do you see how we have those banners on there? So, and I want you guys to know, I remember, for those of you that were here when I first started, my juliescreativestamping.com, the blog portion is working. And today I did a blog hop with a bunch of ladies that I'm training with all over the world. And we all use this collection. And this is actually the card that that's on my blog. So yeah. Okay, so then what I did was I cut basically 2 of these, because let me explain how this works. When you cut this, so this is the die that I used right here. And when you cut it, obviously it cuts. So like I cut a white one and then I cut an evening evergreen, because when it cuts out this frame that has that really cool edge, but then it also cuts the center out at the same time. So I wanted my center to be white and I wanted my frame to be evening evergreen. So I used this twice, and I cut it out of a piece of evening evergreen and then a piece of basic white. All right. So now I'm going to, Cindy, the only time you've stayed up all night is when you've been with me. Ah, so I was a bad influence, huh? That's not surprising. Oh, that's funny. And we used to stay up late sometimes, Cindy. So yeah. All right, so I'm going to bring in, again, this is one of the other, this stamp set not only has these really pretty flowers, but it has just some wonderful sentiments. Thank you with all of my heart. Don't you love that? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know if I can do the all-nighters anymore, man. Like I said, I used to stay up, and I've done it lately. There's times where I'm up till 1 or 2 in the morning because my creative brain goes to work. But then I'm really sad when the next day when I have to get up at 6:30 when my grandkids show up. So I'm going to take some liquid glue, and we're going to add some glue to the back of this. I know it's like craziness, right? Yeah, so I'm trying to adjust, so we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna have to keep you guys updated on how I'm doing on this whole transition. Okay, so I'm gonna try to get that centered. Now, if you don't get it centered and part of this is going to like lay off your edge over here, you might have to put a dimensional behind here. But I think I've got it, I got it centered pretty good, so I'm good. So now I'm going to take this frame. Aren't these fun little frames? I'm really liking the frames. Wait till you guys see the next card. It is like over the top. And you guys know me, I'm not, I don't go, I can't do 11 p.m., Cindy. Yeah, that is funny. Yeah. I think, right now the earliest I am going to bed, I think the other day I actually was really tired. But that was one of the nights where I stayed up until 2, the kids got here at 6:30, and then I went to bed at 10. Okay, so then we've got that there. And then I'm going to bring in these really fun little gold-backed adhesive swirls. So let's bring this in to finish this. Now, I do want to point out to you, some of that designer series paper, the dies actually cut out some of those flowers. So I'm kind of showing you a casual, but you could step up this exact card by cutting out or, coloring some of those flowers. So let's say I colored these flowers and then I cut them out with the dies, and then I could pop them up all the way around this frame. And that would be an avid or a step up from this particular card. So just wanting to let you know that, even though I'm going to be stopping, with just using, I'm going to make this a casual card where I just brought in some dies, brought in some designer series paper, made some banners, and added some embellishments. You could keep going and make this card even into like an avid one. Yeah, isn't that pattern beautiful? Let me show you guys that again. Isn't that a beautiful pattern around that frame? It's so pretty. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some Evening Evergreen. I know that this has a white inside and I could just stamp in this, but because I was using blends, remember blends, look, blends bleed through the back, right? So you don't ever want to do that on a piece of, even the thick basic white, it'll bleed through the back. So, plus I like matting the inside of my cards anyway. And then, so basically and on this one, I actually brought in polished pink. So I did 2 different colors of the flowers. And the reason I did that is because if you'll look on the front here, it has the Flirty Flamingo and the polished pink. So I tried to match that. And as you guys know, because this is a thank you card, I don't usually stamp the inside because I like to do a more personal note. Just write a, you know, quick little note to anybody that I'm sending a thank you card to. Alrighty. So let's get this one in place. All right, so what do you guys think? There's card number 2. Oh, can I come out a little bit? There we go. All right. So all I did was bring in the designer series paper, brought in one of the dies, again, used the stamp set. I did stamp and color on the inside. All right, so there's number 2. You guys like? I hope you do. But that you can check that one out. Like I said, I just blogged that today with the international blog hop that I did. Okay, now card number 3. So we're gonna do some die cutting with this one, just so you guys can see how that works. I did die cut out some of the pieces, but not all of the pieces. So this one I'm actually going to be bringing in. So for the first 2 cards, I used this stamp set. Turned out different, pretty. Okay, good. I'm glad you guys like it. I know. I try to not do all the same colors and stuff, and I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I was using this one. Now remember, the whole collection, right? So I've been using this bundle. Well, let's see if it'll... Oh no, I think I froze. Dang it. Okay, shoo, I'm back. So that's the bundle that I was using with the dies. And now I'm going to be using, this is the other stamp set that comes with the collection, and it's got, you know, basically Christmas or holiday sentiments. Okay, so what I'm gonna do with this one, maybe, where's my card base? Okay, I had a card base for this one. I don't know where it went. Well, I guess I'm cutting another card base. I have no clue where I just set my card base. Oh my goodness. That's what happens with lives. You think you've got all your stuff sitting there, and then you don't. Okay, so I'm using a piece of thick basic white. So, and this will help you guys know too. When you have an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, if you just cut it to 5.5, that's going to give you 2 card bases, right? And you know what? I just felt this. I grabbed the regular basic white instead of the thick. So sorry. Gonna do that one more time, just in case you missed that last time. So if you have an 8.5 by 11, you're gonna turn it on the 11-inch side. You're gonna go to 5.5, cut it in half. That gives you 2 card bases. And then you're gonna turn that and you're gonna score it at 4 1/4, which is half. And that's gonna give you your card base, right? All right. Then I'm gonna bring in a bone folder and burnish that edge. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead, and so I decided to use, because this one's going to be a Christmas card, so I decided to use this designer series paper, which I did just use on the last one. It's so hard to decide which side to use, because look how pretty this side is. It's so pretty. Okay, we're going to lay this down. I'm trying to get that centered. I love Stampin' Seal Plus, but man, if you put pressure down, I try to just lay it down without putting pressure first, so that once I do this, it is stuck. Okay, so now I'm using this die, or I used this die to cut out this next piece. And again, it cut it out in 2 pieces. And I used gold foil for this one. So now I'm going to come in and I am going to, I got to make sure all those little pieces are out. So I'm going to come in with my liquid glue, and I'm just going to kind of hit some areas that are kind of thicker that I know will hold the glue better. You know, sometimes we get these little thin areas and it holds the glue, but then the glue smushes out, and I don't like it to smush out once I push it down. All right, so I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to try to center this. Onto here. Whoops. Whoopsies. I got some on my finger and it's trying to stick to me. Then I'm going to go ahead and take this piece and I'm going to bring in that liquid glue again. This time I'm using that first little container I was using is I basically just take this glue and I switch it to this so that I have a thinner tip. So basically I'm going to glue this back in the center because it cut that out. But I want to bring this closer because I want you to see when it cuts it out. Do you see that? Do you see this really fun border that it embossed on there? It makes it so pretty. So pretty. I know, aren't these frames great? And again, this set, this Fitting Florets collection just became available to customers today. Those of us that are demonstrators, we've been able to have it for a while. Okay, so then what I did is I cut, I just want you guys to know where all these pieces are coming from. So I cut another one of these like I did on that first one. Yeah, Cindy, the gift shop at the hospital had all their Christmas stuff out today. You need to get in gear and get some cards made. Well, okay, I'm showing you how. Okay, so I did this frame again, but I just used the inside. I'm going to use the outside of this that I cut later. And then I'm going to come in with some cherry cobbler ink. And this is one of the stamps from that Framed and Festive. It says from our home to yours. And so I'm going to ink that up. All right, let's see if I can get this straight without getting my head. Oh, you guys, I'm starting to get pretty good with, well, I don't know. Did my head go in the frame? My head may have gone in the frame. Kind of felt like it did on that one. Okay, so let's clean this off. And then again, I'm going to use my liquid glue again. I'm kind of a liquid glue. I didn't used to be, but I like the liquid glue because it gives me a little bit of it. Once it glues really nice and sturdy, but it also gives me some wiggle room so that when I'm laying things down like this, I can make sure that I have it centered. Sorry, I'm getting a glare on that from my light. Okay, so then I'm going to stick that in the center like so. Then what I did this ahead of time. I stamped, these are those same two flowers, but then you haven't seen this one yet. So I stamped this, and then this is the other leaf that's in there. So I stamped and colored all of these, and I used Evening Evergreen, and I don't know if you can see these little ones, but I used Crumb Cake. The reason I use Crumb Cake is anytime I'm using gold, Crumb Cake is the closest color to gold that we have. And so it coordinates with it really well. And then I did Cherry Cobbler. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the die cuts, and we're going to bring in the die cut machine. And let me see if I can get my little one to work. I was using my big one earlier, but let's see if I can get it all on here. And get this all die cut. Okay, so again, we got 20 million dies with this set, and they all match all of these. And I may have stamped these a little close together, so I still may have to run this through a couple of times because I know this big flower is too close to this for me to cut that one out. Sorry, I'm trying to get all these off this magnetic plate that I put them on. Oh, this goes over here. Okay, I think I can get the little flower though. Yep. And the leaf I think is also too close, so I am going to have to make 2 cuts here. So we're just going to lay that down, and then we're just going to cut this out. So we're just going to run this through, and then I'll have to run it again one more time. And this is the mini Stampin' Cut machine. We have one that's much bigger, but this is the little one, and I like to use this one especially when I'm doing these online videos, because it's just a little easier for me to get in the screen, 1, and then 2, it's just easier to move around. I mean, it's not like the other one is horribly hard to move around, but this is, you know, it's smaller, so it is easier. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in the die for this bigger flower and for this leaf. I need some new plates. Do you guys see how like old looking my plates are? I'm telling you, you know, when you're designing cards and you're getting ready for card classes and you're doing Tuesday night lives, your die cut plates get a lot of use, especially if we end up die cutting in class, right? So my plates probably get, I'm gonna say 20 times more use than the normal person would get. And I don't think I got those lined up exactly right, but they will be fine. They're not perfect. I was trying to go too fast. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to take these pieces, and then the other thing that I did was this die right here. I cut out some of that velvet white. I cut these out of that velvety white specialty paper that we have right now. Okay, so let me take a couple seconds and just poke out all these little pieces from this, especially like this velvety one. It cuts all the way through, but because the texture of this velvety, it has a tendency to hold on to, keep all the pieces kind of in place instead of just popping everything out. But we all know that the more detailed they are, the more chance that you have of doing that. Hey, Susie, I'm on my last card. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to kind of lay this down first. And again, this is out of that that velvet white specialty paper that's in the mini catalog. And again, you'll notice I don't put glue on the whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to lay that down. I'm trying to hold it for just a hot second so that it will stay in place. And then this one, this was kind of the one that was a little bit harder to figure out because I remember now. I trimmed this because I wanted it to not come off the paper, but because of the way that it is angled, it wanted to come off the paper. So this one I'm going to trim. And again, I'm going to stick some of this liquid glue. Again, not putting a ton. And so this one is going to kind of be like there. Alrighty. And then I think I'm going to put this piece on first, and then I can see where I want to fill in with my the rest of that. Okay, so this I'm going to pop up. And I try to stay centered, and let me tell you why, because I know that I'm going to be pushing some flowers underneath this, and because of that, I try to keep my dimensionals like right down the center. So we're going to pop this one up. Now remember, this is our Avid card, so it's lots of layers, lots of pieces, and I did, like I said, I cut these out earlier and colored these earlier just so that you guys wouldn't have to sit and watch me do that. Okay, so we're going to put that one like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut this third one up, and I'm going to start placing that up in this corner. Let me bring this in a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing without me hopefully getting off screen. Okay, so again, I'm just going to put a couple dollops of that glue, and then this is going to just kind of slide right in there. All right, and then I can come in and I can kind of snip that off so that this looks like another full flower, or I may just want to get like a couple pieces of this one. Let's see. Because I kind of feel like I need to fill in a little bit right there. So what I'm going to do is actually snip this and snip that. That's what's cool about these flowers, is you can kind of tear them apart, deconstruct them, and add the pieces that you need. Okay, so now I can slip this in like so. And that's still giving me some fun flowers right there. And I'm trying to decide, do I want one more over here? Yep. So I'm going to take a little bit of glue on this one and just slide that underneath like so. And then that just, whoops. It's hard to get it to push down underneath that. I want that in a little bit farther. Hold on. I need to get my take your pick tool in here so that I can kind of push down where that glue is and get it to hold in place. Okay. All right, so that's what we have so far. All right, next step. Okay. So what I'm going to do with these other flowers is I'm going to bring them in the bottom, and I'm going to be placing them here, but I'm also going to bring in, we've got this, this is in the mini catalog, this like shimmery gold ribbon. And so I'm just going to kind of cut some little pieces, and we're going to form some loops with some mini glue dots. So I'm going to grab a mini glue dot and I'm going to stick it right there on that ribbon. And then I'm just going to kind of bring this around and fold it together like so. And then I'm going to bring in another mini glue dot. And it's going to stick right there. And then this ribbon is going to stick to that. And then I'm going to do that again, but I'm going to make this one just a little bit bigger. I do have to measure to make sure it doesn't go off the end of my page though. All right, there we go. So I'm going to snip that. I'm going to bring in a glue dot one more time. Stick it on here. Like so. And then I'm going to put this one right here. So I'm going to stick that glue dot right next to where that other one is laying. And again, I wanted this one to be a little bit farther down than this first one. Yeah, like so. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with liquid glue for the bigger flower. Oh, first I'm going to take this little leaf that we stamped colored and cut out. And I am going to go ahead and put a little bit of liquid glue on the back. Ooh, that was a lot of liquid glue. And stick that leaf like so. Then we're going to go ahead and get this. And this is going to lay like so. And oh, I shouldn't have touched the front of that. I had glue on my hand right there. So again, because it's got like quite a bit of dimension underneath it, you kind of need to give it a little bit of time to take hold, the glue to take hold. And then I'm just going to take one more dimensional and put on the back of this little flower. And this one is going to lay like so on top of that flower. And we're not done yet because this is our Avid card, right? And so I am going to, let's do the inside. I've got it all done up already. So on the front it says, from our home to yours. This is one of the other stamp sets. It says, may the season be filled with peace and joy. And I took this stamp and just stamped it down here and then colored it in. So let me get these two pieces together and on the inside of the card. Then we will finish up with the front of this Avid card. But are you guys kind of understanding why I call this more an Avid card? Because there's more layers, there's more pieces. It takes a little bit more time to do these because you're cutting out, you're cutting out more stuff. But once you get it all cut out, you guys can see, like, obviously I did some colorings and stuff ahead of time, but you guys can see that once you get all the pieces cut out, it really does go together pretty quick. It's just a matter of, taking the time to get all the pieces and stuff cut. So we're just going to take the Stampin' Seal Plus. We're going to stick this on the inside of our card. And I need to use my glue eraser because I've got some glue right here. And I want to get that off of there before I close my card so it doesn't stick shut. All right, and then to finish this one up, we're going to come in with those fun little swirls. And we're going to stick one right here, one right here, and one right there. Boom! Done! What do you guys think? Do you like this Christmas card out of this set? From our house to yours. And then may this season be filled with peace and joy. So I hope you guys like it. Yay! So no comments yet. So I know that I'm a little bit ahead of you guys. I'm trying to move all of the stamps and everything out of the way. So again, guys, this is this collection, the Fitting Florets collection. I used the entire collection to make these 3 cards tonight. And if you order it, you can use that first number, the 163129, and then, or you can order separate stuff if you want just the bundle that I used on the first 2 cards. If you want to include that frame and festive stamp set that I just used on the last card, and the designer series paper and those gold adhesive swirls. Way cool, right? All right, so let's bring in our 3 cards for tonight. 1, 2, and 3. Woohoo! Oops, let me get them a little bit closer. So I hope you guys liked that, because simple stamping. This was more casual because I brought in a couple of the dies in the designer series paper. And then I think this is believe it or not, the Avid one is my favorite tonight. It's not always my favorite. But yeah. That's usually my you know, that's my favorite. You know, and I'll be honest with you, I really have to work to do pink, you know, light pinks and blues. It's just not my jive, but I'm still pleased with the way that those colors came out for me as well. So again, this is the Fitting Florets collection that made all 3 of these cards. And don't forget to check out my blog, juliescreativestamping.com. I know when you go in there, it'll say, it looks like there's nothing there, but if you go to the menu and you click on blog, you will see a blog hop that I did today with Stampin' Up! Demonstrators around the world. This is the one that I put in the blog hop. But you'll get to see so many cards made with this collection. So go check that out. And then if you decide you want that collection, hopefully you'll order from me. And you can do that at juliebrown.stampinup.net and use that hostess code that you see listed there. So anyway, guys, I hope you like these cards tonight. I hope I taught you something in what I'm doing. And most importantly, I hope that you guys will get out there and do some simple stamping and you'll start playing around with everything that you guys have. And see what you can create. I would love to see you create it. But again, this stamp, it is the Fitting Florets collection. This just became available for customers today. And as you guys know, it is first come, first serve. When they come out with these collections like this, if they sell out of it, then it's gone. And especially the, because I do know the bundle will be in the mini catalog that's coming out in January, but the designer series paper and the, oh shoot, the framed and festive stamp set is not going to be in the mini catalog. So get it while you can, ladies. All right, guys, thanks for being with me tonight. I hope everybody has a great week. For those of you that are in my birthday card club, those classes are this week, Thursday morning and Saturday morning. I am not having a Thursday night class because I had a conflict. I have a meeting I have to be at Thursday night. So if you haven't already RSVP'd and you plan on coming, I hope you come, and we're going to start our first class with that birthday card kit. I believe, have 2 more kits for those people who, and they are out. We can't even order them from Stampin' Up! Right now. So those birthday card organizer kits, unfortunately, are out right now. Hopefully they'll get some more in later, but again, not guaranteed. But I do have 2. So if you have a friend that was wanting one and didn't get one, just let me know, because they can come to the class and they can get one of the ones that I ordered special. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for your time. I always appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the cards tonight. I'm going to give you one more look at those 3 beautiful cards with that beautiful collection. And everybody have a good night. And I'll hopefully see some of you this week. Talk to you soon. Bye.